Hello, everyone. Welcome to those who haven't been here before. Welcome back to those who have watched before. Thanks for coming again. My name is Aaliyah Langley. And if you didn't know already, Google had their 2025 Made by Google event today in New York, I believe in Brooklyn. And I want to talk a little bit about Google, and they announced their new Pixels, some new Pixel Buds, what else? Pixel Watch, things like that. All types of like their Google, their autumn event. And I particularly want to talk from a place of an Apple user. I am an Apple everything person. Um, I have too many Apple products. I have been an Apple person for a very long time. I still will continue to be an Apple person and all these things. And I'm like tech support for the family. People come to me if they have questions on Apple products or what to buy. I recommend general technology type things, but not just an Apple kind of in a sense. I guess I kind of try to stay technologically aware like of the things going on. So I've known about the Pixels obviously for a long time, and I know how good they are. And I've been tempted by the Pixel phones for some time. I watched the Made by Google event today, and I was watching an intrigue and seeing how things were going. How Google does it, like they're before the intro kind of starts, even like their event kind of starts, like they're available for pre-order. The phones are available. The Pixel 10 and the Pixel 10 Pro and Pro XL are available next week, and the Fold is available sometime in October 9th or 19th, something with the 9. But they're kind of previewing some of the features and things like that as the event's going, and people are getting their pre-orders and all those kind of good things. The Pixel phones are very, very enticing. Like I said, I've been intrigued by them for some time, but especially with the Made by Google event coming today, you think about it more. You're watching the event, you're seeing some of the new features, particularly with Gemini, which I like to some capacity. But I feel like I haven't been able to fully dive into it because, well, one, I don't have Gemini Pro. I have it with work, but I don't have it like in my personal. But then also with Gemini, I don't have like Google products to like maybe like see it more like enacted in like my everyday kind of life. And seeing some of the things they did with that looks really, really cool. In addition, in general, the phone looks so sleek and so nice, and I just like would like to have one. In my dream situation, I would have like a Marquez Brownlee situation, MKBHD, having an iPhone, having my iPhone, and then also having a Pixel, to kind of like basically go off of both and use both at different times. Particularly the Pixel Fold, I think because one, like who was not intrigued by a foldable? And I've heard so many great things about the Pixel Folds, and this newest one looks awesome as well. The thing is, though, I was thinking as I was watching the event, I recently got an iPad Mini. Dropped it, and my iPad Mini, in some essence, is kind of turned into like my like I don't know, my like mobile kind of like iPad. I also have another iPad that's much bigger. I don't like to carry around a lot, so having an iPad Mini is, yeah, it's not a foldable because you can't have it used in a small way, but it's quite a smaller device. So I was thinking about that. I was like, oh, maybe I would want to fold less because I have an iPad Mini now. But still, I don't know, just like watching the event, watching them go over some of the things, I really was just again sitting there watching like, And they were really trying to do still. They did this whole kind of moment, the whole kind of Made by Google event, which I haven't really watched a Made by Google event in full in a while. Parts of it were cringe. They had Jimmy Fallon kind of being like the hosted with the mostest, going over all these things. They had a bunch of Google people coming in, other influencers, celebrities, whatever, kind of coming on and doing random bits. But there was one section where they had the head of marketing kind of going through a bunch of products with Jimmy, and she was talking about all these different things, like the foldable was IP68 water resistant, which is the first foldable ever to have that, which is a big thing because obviously it's a foldable, so it's a new kind of like design. This isn't the first one, but to kind of reach that hurdle. Some of the things they're going over there, I was just like watching and kind of again just thinking like, it'd be so nice to have this phone. We know the Apple event is probably on September 9th, and we're probably going to get some new updates with the iPhones, all types of other products. So that's always going to be fun to watch and to take in, and get ready for get the new phones. But in that kind of marketing moment, they were talking like about how, I know the biggest thing for a lot of people is, will this be able to work with my family well? And they kind of talked about RCS, and Apple has now enabled RCS support. So that way, you don't have to have the whole green bubble, blue bubble kind of back and forth stupid thing of like, oh, our pictures are coming up bad, which I honestly didn't really know a bunch about. Like, to be fair, a lot of people in my life who are using iMessage essentially, I mean, if you use iMessage, you have to have an iPhone. Anyone else who I know doesn't really have an iPhone. Usually, a lot of them, because the United States iPhones are so dominant here. A lot of my other friends and family who don't live in the United States, I just communicate with them on WhatsApp, so it's not really a problem. The whole green bubble, blue bubble thing. But I didn't really know until kind of recently about like people with Androids always getting like horrible quality photos from iPhone users, all types of things, like it coming up bad on their side. Because I didn't really know a lot of people in terms of like who had that problem, who I was communicating with, who would have that. Because again, people I would communicate with who maybe would be in that situation would be on WhatsApp. But yeah, they were talking about like making the switch sometimes could be like daunting, and like we want to make sure that it's going to work out for you well and not to be worried about things. And we made it really simple where you could just plug in your own phone to your old phone to your new phone, and the data can transfer easily and all these kind of things. And they're trying to entice you over to the other side. I think especially United States, again, everywhere else but the United States, like other phones, like there's not a dominant phone how there is like how iPhone is in the United States. It's very different in a lot of places. But so they were obviously trying to like target in the United States audience. I mean, it's the Pixel was everywhere and this event was streaming everywhere. But trying to think like, hey, like we're in New York right now, like, and obviously they have a bunch of Pixel lovers in there. Like, don't be worried about transferring to a different device or a new operating system or what kind of thing. And like, let me pull you in with all these different great features. And the thing is, it's not even necessarily just the AI component, because we know like Apple Intelligence, I guess, is chugging along like the little guy that could. It's we'll see what happens in the September event, like what kind of advances they've had. They previewed some things at WWDC back in June, I guess, but they're still Gemini at this point is leaps and bounds ahead of where Apple Intelligence is today. And even something as basic as Siri is still really struggling with Apple. So it's just those kind of things entice you. And then also you think about the hardware of it, like the camera looks great. They have this 100 times zoom. They showed this great photo of this car. They took a blue car, like somewhere like maybe Grand Canyon or something like that. They zoomed all the way out to show like the picture was taken. The camera looks great. It has looked great for some time. Just again, the phone in general just looks so nice. Looks like, oh, I want to have it again. Like talk about the fold. It's like, can Apple get a fold? Like if Apple had a fold, some of these things I'm like, again, because I'm Apple ecosystem out, and I'm very much of a thing. Apple's smart in terms of like making like your phone work great with your iPad, and your iPad work great with your phone, or your phone with your computer, or your phone with your watch, and the AirPods, and yada yada yada. So you feel like you kind of like want to stay in the system, and it's very easy in a good way to like kind of get trapped into it, or kind of just to keep going, because it's like everything works so seamless together. Like if I see people out with a Android and a MacBook, I'm like, you're missing out on so many features because those don't communicate as seamlessly. But that's how Apple kind of sets you up in a way. And I mean, they want you to obviously continue to buy their products, and they've definitely been successful with me. But yeah, I don't know. This is kind of just like a rant, kind of about, or not even a rant, but just like a conversation about this or that. I'm curious to know from other Apple users who are watching this, other iPhone users, have you thought about the Pixel, not even just the Pixel, but any other Android phones? The Pixel to me is the most enticing in terms of Android phones. The Pixel, and then probably second is Samsung. And like I said, in my dream scenario, I would be able to have both phones and kind of operate them both, but that's not the world I live in. I will be getting the new iPhone in a couple months here, or in a month, I guess, a couple weeks here. But it is, it's just, can that change? I don't know. I mean, pre-orders happen today. iPhone's still 2-3 weeks away. I don't know. So I'm just curious from other Apple users out there. Did you hear about the Google event today? I mean, what do you think about the Pixels in general, these new ones? Like I said, we have the Pixel 10, which is kind of like the base phone, still a great phone, it seems. Pixel 10 Pro and Pro XL, which I would always get like the big one. If I weren't to get the phone, I would get the big one. I like the bigger phone. And then the Pixel 10 Pro Fold. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on this or that. Which phone are you leaning towards? Have you thought about this conversation at all? Switching, making the big jump from one operating system to another operating system, and like leaving the Apple ecosystem, any of those kind of things. Let me know what your thoughts are on all of it. But yeah, thanks so much for watching this kind of, I guess this is a quick chat technically, maybe, I don't know. But thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Like I said, Techtember is around the corner, as I said in my other little video from the other day. Techtember is around the corner, and we're looking forward to the rest of the great new product releases and product launches in the next couple of weeks. All right, bye guys.